Hello, what brings you to the big city? Are you lost? Visiting relatives? No? Going shopping then? Then you must be looking for a job. Aha, I thought as much. Well, what kind of a job do you have in mind? A garment factory. Lots of young people like you have taken jobs in the garment industry in the past few years. In many countries around the world, the garment manufacturing industry is a major employer. There are more than 50 million people in this sector worldwide. Working for a factory that's part of the Better Work program is a good place to start a job. It's run by the International Labour Organization and the International Finance Corporation. But tell me, why do you want to do that? Of course, so you can earn money to improve your standard of living and send some money back to your family. That should help to raise their standard of living too. So, how do you think you should go about getting a job in a garment factory? Pay for a job? No, that's definitely not how you should do it. International labour standards don't allow factories, brokers, middlemen, or anyone else to take money from you in return for a job. Applying to work in the garment sector is entirely free of any charges. So let's do it the right way. It's easy. You just need to go to the factory to get an application form yourself. But remember to bring your ID card to prove you're old enough to work. Fill it in and hand it over, and then wait to see how you get on. There's no need to pay cash to anyone. Looks like you're on your way. Hello again. So you got the job then? Congratulations. A little nervous on your first day? Don't worry, everyone is. But before you start, there are a few things you need to take care of. And here's the first of them. The Human Resources Manager has got a contract for you. Looks complicated? Don't worry, the Human Resources Manager will explain what's written down in the contract and its terms and conditions, and if you need assistance, help you to fill it in. Remember though, that you might be on a probationary contract at first, so you'll have to work hard and show your employer that you'll do a good job. Basically, the contract is a two-way agreement between you, the employee, and the factory, the employer. You promise to do certain things for the company, and they promise other things to you in return. As an employee, you promise to do your work properly for a set number of hours per week. And in return, your employer, or the factory if you like, promises to pay you your wages for all the hours you've worked, both regular work hours and occasionally overtime hours, for which you're paid extra when the factory is very busy. Hang on, it's not quite as simple as that. Don't worry, there are lots of things to your benefit in the contract, like holidays. You'll be entitled to a certain amount of annual leave, as well as days off on any national holidays. If it's busy, the factory might ask you to work late or on national holidays. You may not have to say yes, but if you do extra work, you'll get extra pay. Labour laws vary from country to country, but they usually do state the minimum amount workers should be paid. So check with the HR manager to be sure how they affect you. And what if you were going to have a baby? You may not be thinking about it now, but it might happen in the future. And if it does, you'll be entitled to maternity leave, and the factory will keep your position open until you come back. Hold on a second, we haven't finished yet. You've heard about some of your rights, but you have responsibilities as well. It's up to you to work to the best of your ability and keep your workstation clean and tidy. Sloppy work and messy workstation? Not such a good idea. Remember, your workstation is designed to help you work properly and efficiently, and not for other activities which have their own time and place. It's good to take pride in the factory's products, but not to take them away with you. Stealing from work can lead to dismissal, and that would be the end of your job in the garment factory. It's your responsibility to use the safety guards on machines which are fitted with them, or the other protective equipment supplied by the factory to keep you safe. Breaking safety regulations puts yourself and others in danger and could result in you losing your job. Hundreds of people work together in a garment factory, so they won't all be best friends. But fighting's no way to settle an argument, and the factory can fire you if you do this. If you do have a dispute with someone else, try to settle it in a non-threatening way, or talk to your supervisor, union representative, or the HR manager. There are many ways to solve a dispute, but fighting is definitely not one of them. There may be other things you need to know in the contract, so read it carefully or have someone explain it to you. Okay, ready to sign? Now the job's officially yours. Congratulations. It looks like this factory is running smoothly. You've been doing this for a few weeks now. How's it been going? That's great, pleased to hear it. So they paid you at the end of the month then? That's as it should be. According to international labour standards, factories have to make it easy for you to get your wages and shouldn't make you come in for your money on a day off. Your payslip should explain how the factory's calculated what you get. It'll include things like basic wages, overtime and bonuses, as well as any deductions. If you're unclear about anything, just ask. Have there been any problems? Oh dear, well let's see if we can do something about them. Ah, feeling a bit sick were you? That's a pity. If you're feeling unwell, you should go to the nurse's office. They can check if there's something wrong with you. If there is, you can take time off. But time off for illness may require a doctor's note that you can show to your supervisor. Was there anything else bothering you? Ah, the representatives from the union have come to see you. Unions can help to reduce conflict. Part of that is encouraging dialogue and the establishment of rules at the workplace. If you join a union, its representatives can talk to factory management on your behalf. The union may be able to help if you have a problem at work. A union can also represent workers collectively. Its representatives may negotiate things like improvements to wages and working conditions for the whole workforce. It's all part of the proper way of doing things if workers would like management to change something, or if there's a dispute which needs to be resolved. This isn't the way to do it. Going on strike without going through the proper steps first doesn't help anyone. It all depends where you are, but in most countries, workers have to try to solve the problem in other ways before going on strike. That makes sense for everyone, because a strike means both workers and the factory will lose money. Talking is a good starting point. A lot of disputes can be solved by negotiation with factory management without going on strike. If that doesn't work, someone outside the factory might be able to help. In some places, a government official might try to help the union and management representatives to come to an agreement. This is known as conciliation. If there's still a problem, an independent group can look at both sides of the dispute and make a ruling. That's arbitration. If the workers have gone through all the necessary steps and they're still unhappy, they may decide to take industrial action, including a strike. Depending on the country, workers may have to tell their employer or government in writing before going on strike. By law, all the correct procedures have to be followed before a strike may go ahead. Workers, as well as management, must make sure that strikes remain peaceful. Engaging in violence during a strike isn't permitted. Also, you don't have to join a strike or any other form of industrial action if you don't want to. On the other hand, managers don't have the right to disrupt workers or union meetings, providing they take place outside of normal working times. Employees are free to meet and discuss work issues if they want to at the appropriate time and in an appropriate place. Nobody should be punished for being part of a union. Does that all make sense? Great, but there are a few other things you should know about working in a factory. A factory can be a dangerous place. That's why it's important for management and workers to cooperate on keeping it as safe as possible. The factory managers will provide the safety equipment needed for each job, and they'll show you how to use it. The factory should also have enough light available for you to do your job safely. A fire in a factory could be a serious problem. So there should be clearly identifiable fire extinguishers around the workplace. In case of an emergency, some workers should be shown how to operate them. There should be clearly labelled emergency exits and a plan for evacuating the factory if necessary. It's really important that if you hear the fire alarm, you follow the procedures for leaving the factory properly. Make sure you know where the exits are and what you should do if there's a fire. A factory can sometimes be a hot and noisy place to work, but it shouldn't be so hot and noisy that you're unable to do your work properly. Has talk about hot things made you feel thirsty? Well, there should be places you can get drinking water around the factory. But remember, make sure that water doesn't splash on the floor where people could slip on it. It's the factory's responsibility to provide enough toilets for the workers and keep them clean and in good working order. But everyone can help to keep the toilets clean and practice good hygiene. Washing hands with soap helps to keep everyone healthy. Using waste paper bins and wiping up spilt water is also a good thing to do. You may find all sorts of people working in a garment factory, men and women from different social, ethnic and religious backgrounds, people with disabilities, young people and older folk. As far as international labour standards are concerned, all of them should be treated the same. So doing people from a certain group favours or paying them more isn't allowed. The same goes for discriminating against individuals or groups of people because they're from a different background. And sexual harassment is another thing which should never be tolerated and is strictly against labour laws. Hang on a second, that doesn't look right. Do you think he should be working here? Perhaps he's falsified his documents. That could lead to termination. Children should never be doing this kind of work, and there should be restrictions on the kind of tasks carried out by younger workers under 18. The minimum age for work can vary from country to country. Well, it's the end of your shift. Time to go home. Remember, nobody can force you to work if you don't want to. Factories must never lock their doors to stop workers from leaving, and they shouldn't hold your personal documents like ID cards, birth certificates or passports unless you agree that's okay. Your documents belong to you only, and they're very important, so keep them safe. Well, it's been another busy day. Time to go home and relax. Remember, it's important to get plenty of rest and eat good food. You have to take care of yourself, not just at work, but in your personal life as well. See you then.